And thinking about buying a house in the next 30, 60, 90 days? Well, I'm going to do a video right now on how to prepare your credit report to buy a house in the next 30, 60 days. You actually need about 60 to 90 days, all right? But I'm going to go over that in this protocol I got right now. So first thing you need to do to prepare your credit report for a mortgage is get a copy of your credit report. And you can get a copy of your credit report by going to Experian.com or Myfico.com. I'll put the links in the bio. There's many other ways to get your credit report. I only recommend Experian or Myfico. There's many reasons why. I'll go over that in another video, but go to Experian or Myfico to get a copy of your credit report. Now, the first thing you're going to do when you get a copy of your credit report is you're going to look at the top of the credit report and it's going to say personal information. Now, when you see personal information, I want you to look at your name, your address, and your employer. You should only have one name, one address, and one employer. If you don't, you need to remove that. You need to have one name, one address, and one employer. If you don't know how to do that, I have a letter that I can give to you. It's called Update Personal Information to make sure that you have that. All the other stuff I would remove. You don't want a lot of addresses, you don't want a lot of names, and you don't want a lot of employers. It doesn't look good on an application. So that's the first thing you do. You need to clean up your personal information. The next thing I would do, I would move down to the bottom of the credit report where it says collections if you have any. And I would remove all collections. Remove them, delete them. Do not do a pay for delete. That's a whole nother thing. I would remove them or delete them. If you don't know how to do that, I would hire a professional like myself to remove all your collections in a very quick amount of time. So that would be the next thing. Remove all your collections. The next thing I would attack and I would remove would be all your hard inquiries. Only the hard inquiries that are not attached to open account. For example, you got approved for a Cap 1 credit card and there's a hard inquiry, we would not mess with that. But all the ones you got denied for or the ones that you decided not to open up, those need to be removed. All right, it just makes the credit report look more strong. And if you got a lot of hard inquiries, it looks like you're actually desperate for credit or you're heading towards bankruptcy. That's what the matrix is telling us, all right? So the next thing you're going to do after you do the hard inquiries, you're going to move over to the collections. The charge-offs, all right? If you got any charge-offs on your credit report, those need to be removed. What is a charge-off? A charge-off is something that went to 120 days. You let it go or it got written off. There might be a balance, there might not be a balance, but it will say charge-off. It's a negative account. Those need to be removed. If you don't know how to do it, I would hire a professional. We know how to do it once again. The next thing I do, I would move over to open credit cards. I would pay down your credit cards to zero. I would zero them out. Down to zero, not $10, not $20, but down to zero. Because if you're buying a house or a mortgage, you want those down to zero because it will increase your purchase power. Meaning you don't have a lot of debt, the bank will give you a higher amount because you don't have those credit card pending. You don't have any bounce. You don't have any amounts, so you don't have to make that monthly payment. It'll give you a higher mortgage, right? Then you move over to your car loan. If you have a car loan, if you could, don't break your back, pay that off. If you can pay your car loan off, pay it off. But if you can't, don't worry about it. It's just, for example, you have a $400 car payment. If you didn't have that $400 car payment, you would have a better mortgage because the bank would say, look, you got the $400, since you only make X amount of dollars per year, we can only give you a mortgage for this amount. So pay down your credit cards to zero, and if you can, pay off your car. If you cannot pay off your car, don't worry about it. At least hit the credit cards, all right? The next thing you do on your credit report to prepare your credit for a mortgage is to try to remove any late payments. Now, if you have one or two in the last 24 months, it's very possible that you can remove those late payments. But if you got like 4, 5, 6, 7 late payments, you know what, you're probably not going to get those off because there's a pattern. But if you got 1 or 2, you could probably get those off. Now, that's the last thing. Now, if you don't know how to do any of this stuff, if you need a professional to repair, to remove collections, hard acquired, charge off, late payments, we can do that. I have a company called Boost Score now, and we can do that very short. It takes about 35 to 45 days. At worst case, 45 to 90 days. So use those steps, use those protocols to prepare yourself for a mortgage. And if you like this video, follow for more.